Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Donna Smith, and for many years, I had the privilege of narrating the concerts for the WCCB until I retired a few years ago.
And I'm Dave Schrock, and I took over as narrator when Donna retired. Before our concert gets underway, we have something special we would like to do. This is Scott Cohen's last WCCB concert, as he will be retiring this summer at the conclusion of the summer band. Scott has been at Ferris 23 years as a music faculty and the last 8 years as department chair of the Department of Humanities. He has instituted and participated in numerous musical activities. He originated the November Veterans Day concert for the WCCB, participated in countless musical activities in Ferris, at the community, state, nation, and internationally.
And now I would like to invite Matt Kuntz up to the lectern. Now, Matt is graduating this year in cyber security, and he will be coming back in the fall to complete his master's in the very same area. He is so involved in so many of the musical activities here at Ferris. So I asked him, why do you spend so much of your time here in music? By the way, he'll be the drum major for the marching band next year. And you know what his answer was, why he spends so much time in music? It's not just about the music, it's the people who play it. And I think that says it all. I think that Matt truly embodies Scott Cohen's motto, which is music for life. Matt.
Thank you very much. I got to know Dr. Cohen 4 years ago as a freshman, and this was during the COVID pandemic, and everything was going with the band, but even through those tough times through COVID, he helped me get through my journey, not just as a musician, but as a student, and became one of my mentors as well. He went so far to help me with my assignments, and I once had an assignment for project management where I had to interview someone. And as a department chair of humanities, he was perfect for that, and he willingly volunteered to interview for me. It's amazing to see how much the band has almost like doubled in size and just grown back from COVID. And I really don't think it would have been as successful as it is without his leadership and help. He's an amazing person, and I'm extremely sad to see him go. But honestly, he has a well-deserved vacation coming up. He set us up for success going forward, and I would like to call him to the stage to present a gift to him.
I think we're back to the script. Yeah. You can relax. Good afternoon again. My name is Dave Schrock, and it's our pleasure to welcome you to the 2025 edition of the annual Spring Band and Orchestra Concert, presented by Ferris State University's West Central Concert Band and the West Central Chamber Orchestra, and their conductors, Dr. Scott Cohen and Dr. Daniel Atwood. Our concert today features a wide variety of musical favorites that have been suggested by the musicians and directors of our band and orchestra. In addition to our musical selections, we will also be celebrating our graduating Ferris students and all of our Ferris students who have received one or more of many music scholarships. And as I noted earlier, we'll be celebrating the tenure of Dr. Scott Cohen, who is retiring at the end of this summer. Please join us after the concert for the reception in the lobby, which will feature cookies and all sorts of other wonderful foods made by musicians Janet Mallett and Linda Peak, and also some delicious cakes prepared by Three Girls Bakery, which is located in downtown Big Rapids. And now it's off to our show. We open our concert today with music from the blockbuster musical The Phantom of the Opera, which will be performed by our band and orchestra together, along with the organ played by Janet Mallett. The plot of the musical goes like this. Deformed since birth, a bitter man known only as the Phantom lives in the sewers underneath the Paris Opera House. He falls in love with a novice chorus singer named Christine, and he becomes her unseen tutor and benefactor. Unaware of his affections, Christine falls in love with an old friend, Raoul. Insane with jealousy, the Phantom kidnaps and imprisons her in his lair. He eventually reveals himself to her, and Christine is left to choose between Raoul and the Phantom. Here now, as selected as a musical favorite by WCCB tenor saxophonist Tyler Janak, are selections from one of the longest-running musicals ever, The Phantom of the Opera.
Now, the orchestra's first piece today was composed between 1993 and 1995 by Carl Jenkins. Palladio was inspired by the 16th century Italian architect Andrea Palladio. Two of Palladio's hallmarks are mathematical harmony and also architectural elements borrowed from classical antiquity. Jenkins utilized this in his approach to this piece. Originally a 3-movement piece, the orchestra will play only the first movement today, but you're going to recognize this because it is the De Beers jewelry commercial, "A Diamond is Forever." Here now, featuring the soloist by first violinist Kevin Moore and second violinist Teddy Fanco, is Palladino.
Our first piece for the band today is a musical favorite of Kayla Doring, who is a graduating Ferris student and an oboe player in the band. This piece is called Creed, and it was composed by Michigander William Himes. He was born in Flint, went to college in some big old university in Ann Arbor, and returned home to teach music in the Flint Public Schools and teach at U of M Flint. Mr. Himes explains that Creed is a statement of belief. Creed evokes affirmation, trust, reflection, and exuberance. It takes listeners through a multitude of moods that we experience as humans, from somber to joy. Himes uses different tempos, dynamics, and articulations to convey these moods. So here now is Ferris West Central Concert Band, the WCCB, with Creed.
Written in 1771, the string quintet in E major by Luigi Boccherini is most famous for its third movement, which the orchestra will play next. This version was arranged by our own Dr. Scott Cohen, and it sets the familiar melody as a cello solo. That solo will be played today by cellist Malakai Taylor-Oates. We hope you enjoy Dr. Cohen's arrangement of this famous minuet.
And now, we'll invite directors Dan Atwood and Scott Cohen to acknowledge and celebrate the accomplishments of several students who are completing their degrees here at Ferris and soon commencing the next phase of their lives.
Okay, so I'm going to do mine from down here. So since we're acknowledging people who this is their final concert with us, I of course want to acknowledge Dr. Cohen, since this is his final concert with us as well before his retirement. We want to thank him for everything that he has done, not only for the university and as the department chair for the Humanities department, but also for the music programs here. He is largely responsible for a lot of the endowed scholarships that many of our students receive. And so we just want to thank him for everything that he has done for us. And on a personal note, I need to thank Dr. Cohen for giving me a job. So he was on the search committee when I interviewed here two years ago. And since that very first day of meeting him, he has been just a fantastic mentor, resource, and more than anything, a friend. So Dr. Cohen, we do wish you all the best in your well-deserved retirement. So thank you. And this year, the orchestra only has one senior, and so we would like to acknowledge Christian Smith. Christian is on bass. He has played bass here with the orchestra for 3 years. I gotta look here. He is an information security and intelligence major. And he said that one of his most memorable moments was when he had the opportunity to play with a harpist here at one of the orchestra concerts. And his future plans are to, I like this, keep playing his instrument and smell the roses and travel somewhere. So congratulations, Christian. We wish you all the best. And then we have one student who is not a senior, but this is his final concert with us too, and that is our concertmaster and first violinist, Kevin Moore. Kevin has been playing with the orchestra for 3 years and is a pre-pharmacy major. As I mentioned, Kevin is not graduating, but he is moving on and going on to other things. He is answering the calling that he received to enter into the seminary and become a priest. And so, yeah. So Kevin says if I can read this, I forgot my glasses, so I apologize. Kevin says that some of the most memorable moments for him are being able to come into class every day, walk in and chit-chat with all of the members of this community, and share all of the music that we made together. He said the friendships, people, and faces of the music make it all worthwhile and is worth its weight in gold. So, thank you, Kevin.
So I'm going to introduce our 5 graduating seniors here. I'm going to ask them to come forward and stand in front of the band on the other side from here so that we can see you. Otherwise, no one's going to see you in the back. So once I call your name, please head up there and just stay up there until I got all 5 people written in red, and then we'll be good to go. Number 1, Annabelle Buckland. Come on down. Annabelle is from Sturgis, Michigan. She's finishing her degree in accounting. She's been in the WCCB for a total of 6 semesters, and this fall she plans on attending the Disney College program, which is quite an honor. So congratulations and best wishes, Annabelle. Next up is Kayla Doring. Kayla's from Houghton Lake, and she's finishing her bachelor's in social work. She's been on the dean's list for 6 semesters, and she's been in the WCCB here, the band, for a total of 7 semesters. When I asked her for her favorite memory, she says, the other oboe player, Michelle, makes the funniest comments. And her future plans, including starting a master's degree in social work, and after that, finding a job to help low-income and homeless people. Yeah. Next up is Tyler Janek. Tyler's from Sparta, Michigan here. He's finishing his degree in digital animation and game design. He's been part of the Real Life RSO, the Registered Student Organization, and he's been also part of the Alpha Psi Omega Theater Honor Society. He has also been in this band for a total of 7 semesters. His fondest memories in band is dressing up for and handing out balloons at the annual holiday concerts. And his future plans include getting an internship, getting a job, living life, and having fun. Tyler. Next up is Maxine Vaughn Shorter. Maxine's lived in several places. She's called Big Rapids home for quite a while now. She's finishing her bachelor's degree in general psychology with a minor in biology. Her accomplishments include graduating, earning cum laude honors upon finishing her associate's degree. She's been a longtime tutor at our tutoring center, and she's been an SLA facilitator for math, chemistry, and psychology. She's been in a total of 9 semesters of band, 1 with the pep band and 8 with the WCCB. Her memories include the friends I've made along the way, all of the conversations, jokes, and reactions that we've shared throughout the semesters. There are a lot of good people here. Her future plans include working in psychology and secondary education before returning for a master's degree in educational psychology or mathematics education. Max, congratulations. And our final graduating senior is Henry Urbain. And Henry is from Traverse City. Yeah, go ahead and applaud. And Henry. Henry's finishing his bachelor's degree in architecture. He's been in bands for a total of 18 semesters worth of bands, including 6 with the pep band, 6 with the jazz band, and 6 with us here at the WCCB. His future plans include working for a year and then starting up a master's degree once again. So, Henry Urbain. Thank you, congratulations all, and now we're back to our regularly scheduled program.
Our next piece of music was just recently composed by WCCB band member Isaac Niesel. Isaac is a freshman in the pre-pharmacy program here at Ferris. He's been a big promoter of playing saxophone ensemble music with his fellow sax players band this year. The music they were trying to work up this semester wasn't going so well, so Isaac decided to write a piece that would. It took him several tries to get it right, so he decided to call this new work One More Try. It's his very first composition. Unhappily, Isaac had a death in the family this week, and the visitation is happening at this very moment. So he's unable to be part of today's world premiere of his piece. We are grateful to Don Flickinger for stepping in today to play the part on soprano saxophone that Isaac would have played today with our WCCB saxophone ensemble. So here now is a new musical favorite of one of our sax players and the world premiere of FSU student Isaac Niesel's piece, One More Try.
As this is Dr. Cohen's final spring concert before his retirement, the orchestra thought that it would be fitting to perform a piece called Gravitas. Now, the word gravitas is used to refer to an individual who has experience and expertise, someone of note and great respect, a very fitting description for Dr. Cohen. Soon he, Newbold, composed the piece to celebrate beauty, strength, and the journeys that shape us. Dr. Cohen's journey has certainly shaped music at Ferris State University, and we sincerely thank him for all the years of service to the university and also to the music department. Here now is Gravitas.
Our next selection is a Cuban-style rumba, selected as a musical favorite by the members of the WCCB Woodwind Quintet. To clear up an error in the printed program, the 5 musicians performing today are Laura Pearson on flute, Don Flickinger on clarinet, Michelle Koffel on oboe, and Kendra Quayles on French horn, and FSU student Audrey Visser on the bassoon. So get ready to do some Latin toe tapping to this original dance tune in the style of the rumba.
The orchestra's next piece was suggested as a musical favorite by graduating senior Kristen Smith. Now, this is a well-known piece that we often hear around Halloween. The Dance Macabre by Camille Saint-Saëns depicts eerie tones and dancing skeletons, and we also hear a rooster crow at dawn. As a last-minute addition, our crowing rooster soloist is Savannah Prince. Here is Carrie Gurnsell's arrangement of Dance Macabre.
And now we'll invite Director Scott Cohen and Dan Atwood back to the lectern to acknowledge and celebrate the students who have been awarded for one of our many endowed scholarships in music.
So I'll do mine again from down here. So when I acknowledge these students, if you would just please stand so that the people can see who you are. We're very fortunate here at Ferris to have an administration that supports what's going on here in the arts and in particular in music. And so all of these students have received a scholarship for their participation in the ensemble. So again, if you would please rise or give a wave if you're already standing. They are Isaac Anderson, who's probably up on the stage, Abby Decker, Emily Dempsey, Anna Fanco, Teddy Fanco, Evan Gitre, Riley Green, Kevin Nodell, Julia Mayette, Kevin Moore, Addison Noble, Savannah Prince, Colbin Schaefer, Bailey Spittler, Christian Smith, and Malakai Taylor-Oates. So these students received the scholarships for the activity-based scholarships, so congratulations.
Did you just do the activity-based or the endowed? Activity-based. Okay, then I'll do activity-based too. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a good one. We'll do the other ones next. All right, so band, there's 44 of you, so just stand up and please. Don't worry about coming to the front because there's not enough room. These activity-based scholarships, by the way, are scholarships from funds that come all the way from the president's office to the provost's office to our dean's office to us. And it's a way of acknowledging and thanking the students for having participated in the ensembles for both semesters during the school year. They also need to have a 2.0 grade point average to do that. And it's just a little bit of a thank you to for the culture that they help provide. This is for all of our ensembles, the pep band and the choir and the orchestra and the jazz band and the concert band. So all the students, if they meet those requirements, are eligible to receive that. So when I read your name in the band, will you just please stand up and we'll hold applause to the end. You can hoot and holler if you want in between. All right, here we go. 44 of them. And Sophie Anderson, Brianna Bachman, Connor Bacon, Dylan Bosch, Shayla Broku, Emma Brown, Annabelle Buckland, Gabby Cerruti, Sophie DeRusha, Kayla Doring, Krista Doling, Nicole Draham, Adriana Dreyer, Christian Erdl, Ryan Fox, Lauren Frazier, Gavin Gentile, Tyler Janak, Haley Grove, Zach Holcomb, Faith Jones, Matt Coons, Amanda Laban, Janelle Lekes, Sebastian Luce, Evan McNaughton, Chris Madhaven, Lily Macon, Casey Martindale, Isaac Measle, Jason Morowski, Logan O'Brien, Matt O'Connell, Nicole Ralston, Anna Rowe, Tony Scrazuti, Noah Spinelli, Henry Urbane, Emily Van Els, Max Von Charter. Oh, I'm not doing good. Max Von Shorter. I did that better the first time. Yannick Fedak and Audrey Visser. Congratulations to all. And that's what Dr. Atwood gets for not bringing his glasses. All right, back to our show. Thank you.
Our next piece is some fun music that was composed to celebrate the opening of a new mountain scaling funicular train and its new train station on Italy's Mount Vesuvius near the city of Naples, way back in 1880. Today, we're in for a treat. Dr. Ed Mallett of local tuba box fame will be our featured soloist on the euphonium. Arranged by Herman Belstedt, who performed it way back in the day with bands like John Philip Sousa's, this version has Ed doing all sorts of musical acrobatics on the euphonium, which is a small tuba that sounds like, and almost as good as, a trombone. He may have other surprises for us as well. So now please welcome Ed Mallett as we feature him on the fun tune from Naples, Funiculi, Funicula.
She looked at me and my fine felt hat. The big fat lady, so right on beside me, right on top of my fine felt hat. Oh, Christopher Columbia, what do you think of that? A big fat lady, she sat upon my hat, she sat upon my hat, she sat, and now my fine felt hat is flat. Christopher Columbia, what do you think of that?
Brandenburg Concertos by Johann Sebastian Bach are a collection of 6 instrumental works which Bach presented to the Margrove Christian Ludwig of the Brandenburg Schoet in 1721. Margrove is a title given to princes of the Prussian royal house. The Brandenburg Concertos are said to represent a pinnacle in the history of Baroque concerto. Thanks to a century of recording technology, the Brandenburg Concertos are firmly established among Bach's most popular works. Now today, the WCCB String Quartet, featuring Danielle Clark, Donna Ovacatis, Colbine Schaefer, and Malakai Taylor-Oates will perform the first movement of Bach's Brandenburg Concerto No. 3.
For our next selection, graduating senior Maxine Vaughn Shorter requested that we play one of her musical favorites, the Motown classic, My Girl. Fortunately, we happen to have an arrangement called Motown Review that features that tune, plus a couple of others. The first song is I Heard It Through the Grapevine, which is from 1967 and reached #1 on the Billboard charts. My Girl, another #1 song by The Temptations from 1964. And the last song, ABC, is yet another #1 Motown hit, this one by the Jackson 5 back in 1970. We hope you enjoyed this Motown Review.
And now we invite Dan Atwood and Scott Cohen back to the lectern yet one more time to acknowledge and celebrate the many students who've been awarded an Endowed Music Scholarship. Gentlemen.
Since Dr. Atwood, since Dr. Atwood forgot his reading glasses, I'll make all the announcements today. So I think what I would like to do is I'm not going to talk too much about the endowments themselves, So when I mentioned the student's name, if you're in the pit in the orchestra, please stand and remain standing. If you're in the band, please come to the front of the stage, and Santa will kind of recognize you there as well. For those of you who don't know, endowed scholarships are scholarships created from funds that have been given by donors to the universities, and sometimes very specifically for something like music. In 2002, when I arrived here on campus, there was one endowed music scholarship in music. It was founded by Bill Donahue, who had been the choir director here for many years. He was the second director of the music program here, following Dr. Dachoff. Dr. Dachoff was actually working on his endowment when I arrived, and we helped, along with Don Flickinger, getting that up and running shortly thereafter. And today we have 7 endowed scholarships. We've gone from making 1 award for 1 student in 2003 to everyone you're seeing here. And today what you're seeing does not include the choir, does not include jazz band. So it's, there's a lot. So the people who have donated, we're very appreciative of that. And I would like to call out 2 people that created our newest endowments, because they are here playing in our ensembles tonight. On stage, we have Linda Peak. She and her husband Jim created that scholarship a couple of years ago. I believe this is the 2nd year we're awarding it. And in the pit, we have Ella Villa, and her sister Irene is out in the audience, and they did one for orchestra. So would you please stand up and we can say thank you for those? And we're equally grateful to everyone else who's done that. And if that's something that you would like to contribute to, all these 7 you can add funds to if you want to contribute to any one of them. We have an 8th one that's in the works, and if you want to establish your own, we'd be happy to do that as well. There's never been a greater need for that kind of assistance, and it's quite remarkable that here at Ferris State University, where we have no music major, not even a music minor, that we have this many people that are here to support all these students playing in all these ensembles. So how about a round of applause for all of them? All right, I'm just going to read the names, so if you're in orchestra, stand up. If you're in the band, please come to the front on that side. And here we go. For the Carol Gitre King Scholarship for Music, we have Krista Doring, we have Aaron Bowerman, and we have Isaac Anderson. From the Via Family Music Endowed Scholarship, we have Evan Giro. From the Susan and Ernest Wenger Band Scholarship, we have Haley Grove, Logan O'Brien, Kyle Knottle, and an incoming student this fall will be Abby Pichaki. I don't know if I got that right, but she's not here, so it's okay. From the James and Linda Peak Music Endowed Scholarship, we have Anna Rowe. She's not here this evening because she's with Isaac Measle at the visitation back in the East Side. William and Natalie Root Instrumental Music Scholarship is Colvin Schaefer, Anna Adsit, and Zachary Holcomb. The S. Eugene Byshinsky Scholarships for Musicians of Promise. Nicole Ralston, Faith Jones, Savannah Prince, and the Dacho and Ruth Dachoff Outstanding Musician Scholarship goes to Teddy Fanco, Connor Bacon, and Yannick Vidak. Congratulations. These awards mean that you've been selected, or those are awards that you have to apply to nowadays, and then the faculty helps select those. So you've earned those, and we look forward to your participation next year. And again, we're very thankful to all the donors who made that possible. One more round of applause.
When our orchestra members were asked about their favorite movies, the 2009 Disney Pixar animated movie Up was mentioned. So in keeping with the musical favorites theme, the orchestra will now perform a theme that is heard throughout the movie in a variety of musical styles. This arrangement includes styles of light nostalgia, heroism, and even a vaudevillian-style toe tapper. We hope you enjoyed the melody, Spirit of Adventure, from Disney Pixar's Up.
The West Central Concert Band's final piece this afternoon is a powerful classic for band. It was actually music from the opera Shawanda the Bagpiper by Jewish Czech composer Jaromír Weinberger. He was fortunate to escape the Nazis in 1939 and get resettled safely in the United States. One of his descendants is a Ferris alumna, Becca Weinberger, now Becca Conley, and we played this piece when she graduated in 2016. Now the music has two parts. It begins with a polka, which is a Polish dance and musical style popular in many countries around the world. The second part is a fugue, which is a tune that is repeated over and over like a musical round. And if you know the song, Row, Row, Row Your Boat, that's kind of the idea. But it's a lot more complicated, and it's a lot more fun and challenging for the musicians. At the end of the piece, you'll hear both the polka and the fugue melodies come together for a triumphant ending. This piece is a musical favorite of Dr. Cohen's, and it features the organ once again and a pair of herald trumpets, which you'll see and hear at the end. So here now is polka and fugue.
some final acknowledgements and then introduce our last piece for today's concert.
That was a doozy, wasn't it? All right, well, thanks for the band. This was the piece that we worked hardest on for this concert, maybe all year, so I want to say congrats to them because they really pulled up a nice job. So I'm going to go a little bit longer than I typically would here at the end, since it's my last spring concert with this wonderful ensemble, and with the wonderful ensemble in the pit as well. So the first thing I'd like to do, and we've kind of acknowledged most of them, but not all of them. So first and foremost, we're all here because of our students. So can I ask all the students in the orchestra and the band to please stand up, and we acknowledge you and thank you for your performances today. Our Music for Life program, which Dr. Atwood mentioned earlier, is made possible for many reasons, but the thing that really makes it work is that we have many community members from different walks of life, different stages in their lives, different parts of the country that end up here, and it's their role model as people that have continued to play or have come back to play throughout their lives that is an inspiration for our students, and they get to sit with them and kind of learn their stories, and the community members kind of impart some of their years of experience. The students bring in all sorts of fresh blood ideas and enthusiasm and energy, and it's a wonderful synergy. So I would like now to acknowledge all of our community members in both the orchestra and the band. Would you please stand and be recognized and thanked? Kind of last minute, I put out a call to see if people might want to come back and play the concert that used to play with the band and have since moved on to other things, and they're not currently. So we have 5 alumni from the band that have returned today. I'd like them to stand up and kind of wave out the audience. On tenor sax, we have Andrew Hartung. On trumpet, we have Jamie Eichenberg. And on trombone, we got Gina Watts. And in percussion, we have Ben Withy. And on alto saxophone, my good friend and colleague for 17 years here at Ferris University drove up yesterday morning to arrive from St. Louis, Missouri, arrived for our 10 a.m. concert. So Dale Scornia on alto sax. That's one of my favorite pictures, by the way. I'd also like now to bring out our announcers that have been so gracious to help us with all of our concerts for the years. So can we please bring out Dave Schrock and Donna Smith? Donna Smith was the original announcer of the WCCB when we first started. That was under the baton of Don Flickinger back in the day. And she was the voice of the band for over 25 years. And yes, that deserves a round of applause. And upon her retirement, Dave Schrock graciously stepped in. They both have wonderful voices, and he's done this for several seasons now. And they're usually hiding behind the podium and not wanting too much recognition, but they deserve it. How about a big round of applause for our announcer? So here in Williams Auditorium, things work with a lot of different people. We have a lot of students that help out. Some are work study, some just get paid, some volunteer. And then they've been led for the last couple of years, or more than that, by two of our staff, our full-time staff and our part-time staff, and both are leaving those roles at the end of this semester, which is in like 2 weeks. And so I want to make sure first, even though she's not here, Sarah Kerr's been here, I believe, for 4 years. She's been the full-time person keeping things running, not only for our concerts, but for everything that happens here all year long. And today, her daughter is celebrating First Communion, so she couldn't be here. So, so would you please give Sarah a round of applause and a Our part-time person who's been there, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 years, Courtney, but whatever it's been, she's worked like 7 years worth of work in those 2 or 3 years. And she's been wonderful to work with as well. And she's moving on to different opportunities with her husband. I just wanted to do a big shout out to Courtney Dunbar. Thank you, Courtney. One of the supporters of our music program here is also a huge supporter of Ferris Sports and a big supporter of the music program at Big Rapids High School and so many things in town. A very mild-mannered man who's very passionate, usually in a quiet kind of way, not always, but usually. And he's donated many programs to our concerts over the years. And it's just, he's a Ferris grad himself, been here his whole life, kids grew up here, fixture of the community. I just want to do a shout out to John Mallett for all of his support. So thank you, John. So these wonderful video presentations, I just was one of the luckiest directors ever. I got here my first year and I did not know this man. And then I talked to Harry Dempsey, a former music professor here, and had done marching band, orchestra, jazz band, lots of things. And Harry turned me on to Jeff Caballas. And Jeff Caballas, I recruited to be trumpet player. He's been my first year trumpet player for, if I'm here 23 years and 22 years. And then we started collaborating and said, Jeff is a media specialist here at the university. And so he's been putting together all sorts of wonderful video presentations for our concerts and for many other things. And he does wonderful work for lots of other people across campus. And it's just been a really unique opportunity to kind of fuse some really important visual stuff to help highlight the music that happens. So I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to Jeff Caballas. I mentioned Don Flickinger a couple times, so Dan Atwood kind of thanked me for hiring him. I have to thank Don Flickinger for hiring me 23 years ago. Don was at that time still conducting the orchestra and was the chair of the Humanities department, which I eventually went into. I had no idea when I was heading in that direction. Don tried to retire and was unsuccessful many times, but he's been better at it recently, and he's come back and played with us more and more. He's helped a lot of chamber groups in here. You saw him step in with the saxophone group today when it was needed. Just been a wonderful musical resource and a personal friend. So I just want to give a shout out to Don Flickinger. I want to do also a quick shout out to the person who made the banners hanging from the herald trumpets you saw at the end. Those include pennants from the old marching band days, and they were put together, I think, 1 or 2 days ago by our oboe player, Michelle Caulfield, and who's also a retired band director, who's also been a wonderful musical confidant and a wonderful oboe player in our band. So big shout out to Michelle Caulfield. So we have an unusual program here. We have all these musical groups that do all these musical things. We've got no majors or minors. We have this Music for Life slogan. It's a mantra that I believe Don Flickinger may have started. And then I was very happy to pick up that mantra, and this fusion with our students in the community has been a wonderful thing. Our summer band, which is going to start up its 59th season this summer, is one of the longest lived examples of that. And I just want to make sure that people realize that that kind of support only exists if we have an administration. So we have our dean's office, we've got our provost, Bobby Fleischman, our deans are Randy Cagle and Trinity Williams. President Bill Pink, he's the guy who gave the green light for the marching band to come back. And former President Eisler, also very supportive of this kind of town and gown thing. President Eisler was the person that helped get the Festival of the Arts here in town, which is now starting season number 19 in the fall. And it's being supported very enthusiastically by President Pink as well. And the Board of Trustees, which keep rotating, but we've had a couple of them, Ron Sneed and George Hartwell, that have actually been part of our programs over the years. So that kind of engagement and support is not common, and it's been a long tradition here. So I just want to make sure that we all recognize and thank the people that make all this happen financially. So thank you to all those administrators. I'm getting close. Thank you for your patience. There's like cookies and cake and stuff out there. You'll be happy in a few minutes. So I've had the pleasure and the honor of being the department chair of the Department of Humanities for the last 8 years. And before that, I saw these people, once a month. I was lucky at department meetings. But I usually was in the music center, my own little music bubble. And being the department chair really gave me a bird's eye view of our... Is this the Gong Show? So our department has 13 different academic disciplines. We're spread out over 6 buildings across campus. We're kind of a mini college within it. I've gotten to know and become very fond of my colleagues in the humanities department. So I don't know if any of you are here, but if any of you in the humanities department are here, I just want to say a shout out and thank you for all being wonderful colleagues. And on the staff side of things, we've had my secretary for all these 8 years. Full-time secretary has been Kirsten Johnston. She's been my right-hand man, or sometimes I've been her right-hand person. And she's played a critical role in making things happen for everybody in our department. So, Kirsten, I don't know if you're here. If you're here, would you stand up and we can thank you? And if not, we're going to thank you anyways. All right. Our part-time secretary, Andrea Long, has been with us for 3 years, and she's been a wonderful person to work with, too. Just one of the nicest people and a very pleasure to work with. So, Andrea, if you're here, if we stand up and say thank you to you as well. Well, let's thank her anyways. My music colleagues, Dan Cronk and Matt Moresi, been around for a long time with them. Dan was here actually before I am. He's a very multi-talented musician. Matt has been the leader of our jazz band for the last 19 years. He's stepping away from that role, and we will be hiring a new person to take over the concert band that I've been doing and the jazz band that he's been doing. And he's going to help Dr. Atwood with the marching band and the pep band. So that's going to be big shoes to fill there. Katie McInnes was just luck of the draw. She retired around about the time of the pandemic hit. I was able to hire her out of retirement to come teach our choir, and she has transformed that choir. I know Katie's here. Katie, just stand up and say thank you. You've been a wonderful couple. And then there's Dan Atwood. Dan came in and he's just got the whole program energized. The orchestra is sparkling, the pep band is growing, and he's got this marching band ready to roll. He proposed to President Pink different options, including a Cadillac version, a Ford version, Yugo version, and he gave him a moped version. And the president selected the Cadillac version. You're going to see a marching band this fall, all brand new silver instruments, brand new uniforms, brand new marching band director, Dan Atwood. You saw Matt, what's his last name? Matt on the trumpet that gave me the award. He's going to be our drum major. The other Matt O'Connell, is going to be our commanding officer of the marching band. Matt, you want to stand up? Other Matt? And Matt, first Matt, our two drummers. Dan Atwood has been a joy to work with, and he's the right person to carry the music program forward for the near future. So wish him all the best and thank him. And then last but not least, my family. There has been many evenings, weeks where I've just disappeared. I met my wife in Spain. She's from Denmark. We lived in Iowa. We lived in Virginia, ended up here 23 years ago. Our daughter Claudia, who's here tonight, was born in Iowa. Our son Eric was born just a few months after we moved to Grand Rapids. And they've been wonderful supporters, and I couldn't have done any of this without them. So my family out there somewhere, thank you. Final plugs for the summer band this summer, season number 59. Our Bulldog Marching Band making its debut this coming August. And here to end the concert now and celebrating our Music for Life here, we're going to end with a march that I composed 31 years ago when I was on a Fulbright research grant in Spain. I took 9 months and stretched it out into 2 years. And after a short while there, I got on a train and this beautiful Danish woman stepped on board, and this Tuesday will have been married 30 years. I got invited to conduct a small village band about an hour south of Valencia, Spain, and they needed someone to write a piece of music, and I don't do a whole lot of composing, but a melody came to my mind. I put it to paper. It was published there. It's still played every year in March, part of the festival called Las Fallas. The name of it called Azcárraga. It doesn't mean anything. It's just the name of the club. And I think we're going to rock you out on this piece. It's Spanish-style paso doble that I composed, and we're adding strings for the first time ever today. So thank you to the strings for being good sports with that. And without further ado, I'd like, how about one more time, a round of applause for the orchestra, Dr. Daniel Atwood. And one more round of applause for our band. All right, here is Azcárraga, Paso Doble Fallero.
you.